We were a team. You knew what we were doing. You still couldn't stop it. Jay Novacek will go up to the DB and say to him, you watch film. He's running 15 yards out and 20 yards in. Could you please stop it? Because if you're covering him, Troy's throwing me the ball. Jay and I would joke back and forth about how could we tell people what we're doing, and they still could not stop it.
Top of the hump day afternoon, y'all. It's your boy B Jizzle and my girl KELZ with the intels, back for round 2 of day 2 of minicamp.
Yeah, day 2.
Yeah. Installs, one-on-one drills. We got a couple of clips from the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator, so we're going to talk about that. We've also got the official link up from DallasCowboys.com site on the day 2 news and notes, so we're going to go through that. So special shout out to everybody tapping in right now. Thank you to all of our green badges on Facebook, on Built Different Group. Shout out to all of our green badge supporters. This episode is brought to you by those supporters. Shout out to all of our veterans on LinkedIn tapping in today on Humpday. And then shout out to everybody out on YouTube as we kick the show off. So we got a couple of clips from coordinators today. Day 2, got the news and notes, KELZ. Anything glaring to you after day 2? You got any new intel, anything you can share with us to jump off the show?
No, I think basically everything was said at the press conference today.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to listen in? I didn't get a chance. I did yesterday's. I don't know if you did. Did you get anything from it exactly, or not? Do we need to go to it?
So with Clayton Adams, hold on, let me, because I did jot a few notes. He basically said, which is true, like the NFL and some of the rules and some of the new schemes and stuff, it changes like per game, per season. He did talk a little bit about how, the offensive line is going to operate and what he expect out of, the backfield. What I did not know was that he also has experience with working with tight ends.
Tight ends, you say? Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about some tight ends today. Got one we're going to talk about in particular. So that's from the notes that you gathered from the Clayton Adams. You watched that presser there?
Yes.
Both the coordinators today. Yeah, so we do have the news and notes up from those. So we're going to show you all those clips here shortly. But if you did not know, we are officially 84 days away from the NFL kicking off. Now, I know you may have seen the Cowboys post today. We're 88 days. Well, that's technically till the Cowboys kick off on Sunday. But the first game kicking off in 84 days. We want to know who is 84 proof out there. And there's a tight end that wore the number 84, KELZ, that was a very integral piece of the Dallas Cowboys offense. And I know we were talking tight ends here yesterday, and I thought it was pretty neat. I thought we'd highlight Jay. You got a favorite Jay Novacek memory here to kick off things with us?
No, not really. No,
not a favorite
not really.
play. Not even when he hurdled, the Kansas City Chiefs. None of that.
I mean, I do remember that one, but nothing that's like my favorite as far as him. Me, I'm more of like a defense person. No shade to the offense.
Shout out to the defense. But if you did not know, Jay Novacek is actually on Facebook, and some of the folks in our network have actually had a chance to meet up with Jay. And so we're going to share that as I see Caitlin's tapping in right now, right on cue. I like that, huh? Right on cue as we talk about Jay Novacek. So here's Jay's Facebook. We'll just add it to the stream here. I don't know what's going on. My internet is lagging a little bit, y'all. So if it's lagging out there on that end, we apologize. But it might be StreamYard. Something's going on. Things are moving around a little bit slow. But Jay Novacek is on Facebook, and he has his own bourbon called 84 Proof. You drink bourbon, KELZ?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever had a swig or two of old 84 Proof or no?
Nah, haven't. They don't sell it in my neck of the woods.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about like 8 beer for Troy Aikman. I know his 8 beer is not all over the world. I'll be surprised when it does make it into AT&T Stadium. Shout out to Caitlin. She had a chance to try some of it. Caitlin, let us know, how does that 84 proof actually taste? Because she actually had a chance to meet him about 5 years ago in Corpus when he was out in Texas. I think that's where it's available at KELZ. Shout out to Caitlin, our admin, and her husband Arch there with Jay Novacek getting some 84 proof. So I'm going to take Jay's Facebook link and I'm going to share it down in the comments below. We wanted to kick off the show today as we are 84 days away from the NFL kicking off, and how you can get your hands on some 84 proof. But you had 8 beer yet, Kels? Have you tried the Troy Aikman 8 beer?
I'm not a beer person. I don't drink beer, so no.
I don't drink beer either. I've had it. It's actually pretty light tasting beer. I know he promotes it as not having that many calories. It's supposed to be a healthy beer per se. But anyway, let's get off the drinks because we are talking about mandatory minicamp day 2. And we got some news and notes here from the official Cowboys website. And, you know, we got a couple of clips. Matter of fact, let's just go into the clip from Clayton Adams that KELZ is talking about just to kick things off. And so if you're tapping in right now, let us know where you're watching from, especially if you're a Cowboys fan. Green Badge is tapping in on Facebook. Give us a shout out. Let us know you're keeping up with your team. This is the day 2 recap 5 years ago.
Ooh, sorry.
This is the day 2 recap. As soon as I can get up with this lag, well, I'm telling you, I'm lagging all over the place on the back end, but I think I've got it up now. So let's check out this clip from Clayton Adams, our offensive coordinator. You know, a lot of focus has been on defense, as KELZ has been talking about, but what about the offense? Let's hear from our offensive coordinator, Clayton Adams, today.
And just your overall assessment of your left tackle spot.
You know, it's obviously it's always difficult to evaluate offensive linemen when you're not wearing pads. Having said that, you know, just in regards to the things that he's supposed to be doing in the offseason, what he looks like, what his attitude is, how he answers questions, I think he's had an outstanding offseason. And I'm very excited, you know, for him to compete and for us and him to have the opportunity for him to stay out there and play and learn, because that's, you get better at football by playing football. And so regardless of whether it's the left tackle, the right guard, the starting safety, your gunners on punt, like they got to be out there to get better. And he's another person that falls into that category.
Now I wanted to share that clip, KELZ, because I know yesterday on our day 1 recap, we did talk about what Shotty put out in the public, that there's a competition between Nate Thomas and also Tyler Guyton, who seems to be doing all the right things, lost weights, coming in healthy. Glaring words there from Clayton Adams on Tyler Guyton. What did you gather from what he had to say?
I mean, we talked about it yesterday. I was very big on Tyler Guyton with the 2024 draft cycle. I was hoping for him to be our right tackle, but that's not so much of the case. But we have to be real with the situation that we have at hand. This is a 2024 first round draft pick that is battling for his job.
Pretty much, but he's going into year 3, and there's also been, I've heard, a rule of thumb that you can't really gauge offensive line players, or is it defensive line players too, and around year 3, is that sound about right? Until, you know, it's not like they're going to come out. Well, I don't know. Maybe Tyler Booker came out year 1. He dominated.
Yeah.
But is it like a 3-year rule, sort of speak?
No,
for
because
linemen?
normally when you're a first round draft pick, you are ready to go.
Okay.
But he had so he had an injury. His first injury was a high sprain ankle injury that he received in training camp. So he had to have like a minor surgery. Nothing severe, so he will be ready to go for the first week of that season. He really didn't get any playing time as far as preseason games. So that was one injury, and then he sustained another injury. So while he's recovering from the first injury, he had another injury on top of that that also put pressure on the first initial injury. So he's nursing two different injuries at the same time on the same leg. So this is like 2 years of injuries with Tyler Guyton. So now we're going into year 3. Yes, he, I don't want to say he lost weight. I think his weight got proportion to other parts of his body that will stabilize him as far as his position as a tackle. But yeah, to me, this is just like a situation like what we had with Mozzie. You would expect him to produce better than what he is. But like I said, he's a primary right tackle playing out of his position.
Got you. All right, so I want to jump back to these Cowboys news and notes per the official website here, and I'll share that link down in the comments below from day 2 of mandatory minicamps, because you got some things that are sticking out. And it says it was a windy day on the practice fields as Cowboys rotated through individual drills to begin, went into special teams to spend a long portion of practice in 11-on-11 and 7-on-7 periods.
7. Mm-hmm.
Then the previous day, the third and final minicamp practice will take place tomorrow. Make sure you turn on your notifications. We'll be spinning the block for the 3rd time. My girl KELZ and I. Plus, we'll have a special guest. There's more on that. The last time the team will work together will be tomorrow until July, when the team travels to Oxnard. But here's some highlights from today's day 2 mandatory minicamp. Big Q, right on cue. In 11-on-11 periods, it's difficult for both the offensive and defensive line to truly be able to go up against one another, as there aren't any pads on. I think we've heard that plenty of times, right? There's a difference in padded football and non-padded football, right, KELZ? I know you even know that.
Yeah.
I think most fans can understand that. That's good to know, because while that notion has been taken into account during the portion of this offseason, Pro Bowl defensive tackle Quentin Williams made his presence felt on Wednesday by blowing up a screenplay to Jaden Blue in the backfield, and 2 plays later got pressure on Dak. This defense, which we're getting ready to hear from our defensive coordinator here, Christian Parker. Look, man, it's scary, some of the things I'm hearing. So I'm learning so much from our coordinators, KELZ. I don't think I learned a damn thing from Matt Eberflus last season.
Like I said, it's
like no new terminology. Like I'm not even the X's and O's guys, but I'm learning a lot from both Clayton, and we're getting ready to hear from our defensive our defensive coordinator, Christian Parker. But is it just because it's not pads, that's why it's all highlights today? Is that what it is?
No, I think the difference is that CP and Flus have different philosophical views when it pertains to the defense. And like I said, I'm not saying that Flus is a bad coach, no whatsoever, because he was an excellent linebackers coach when he was with us originally. Because look at some of
because we did have the best linebacker core with LVE and I think Jalen Smith around that time.
And
but
DeMarcus
the second Flus I got the problem with. I'm tracking with you.
But I think what he wanted to do, it wasn't translating and it wasn't being bought in by the players, because you're asking me to run zone when I'm man. You're asking me to
I remember you talking about that last year, and that was the hang up with Stephon Diggs, right? They were running a system not traditionally a Trey. They were running Trey was used to running man, but we weren't running man. We were running zone.
Right. And you're telling me to do a single high shell and I'm a 2 high shell safety. You're telling me to run to be a free safety and I'm a strong safety. So he didn't have what he wanted. We didn't have that in the defensive back room. And you want to run a 4-3 base formation scheme when your whole defensive line was a 3-4 defensive scheme.
Yeah. I just know it was atrocious watching Eberflus on the mic last year talking about practice and things. And I know it was all bad. Our defense was totally the worst in the league, gave up the most points. It seems like the most yards, the most everything. But this new defensive coordinator that we got, let me just tell you, I don't think he just talk it. I think he walks it too, KELZ. Because in an interview today, watch how fast Christian Parker is at recognizing who he's dealing with. Let's listen to what he got to say.
Tim Dallas Morning News. 2 years ago, the challenge was to get Cooper DeJean and Mitchell up to speed real quickly, and obviously it went as good as it can go. Do you see this challenge similar to that? Not necessarily all with rookies, with Downs and a couple, but with different position groups on this defense, getting them very quickly to where they need to get compared to where they were a year ago?
Well, first thing, I used to watch you on Around the Horn. So, yeah. But no, I think that, yes, it's different by position. There's certain things that we can't do with the front right now because we don't have pads on. There's certain things the secondary can't do because they don't have pads on. I think that right now it's about the NFL 101. You know, what is the league? What family do these play callers come from? What do certain formations mean? Where is your help? Where isn't your help? Who are you working with and communicating with? Do you know who you're looking at when you're talking or trying to hear something? Just getting those foundational things now. And not trying to, walk before we crawl in that essence. So we're in that process. We're knee deep in it. And, there's really no way to predict when that light is going to truly come on because, we have plenty of time before the first game in New Jersey. So we're just trying to follow those steps and have some urgency in doing it, kind of throw them in the fire a little bit and just kind of see how they respond.
Tim Cal.
Installs, KELZ. But how about Christian Parker reading the room right off the bat, saying, hey, I know you're Tim Shaw from Around the Horn. Quick on his feet, right?
Mm-hmm. Very quick.
I mean, if a guy is not walking it like he's talking it, I mean, I don't know what I feel just with that little interaction right there. The guys are going to have to be receptive to what he's talking about. Because did you just hear all of what he was talking about?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing Christian Parker in this role. I mean, every time just listening to him talk, it gets you excited for what's about to happen. And like I said, it's going to be hard for whoever we playing to game plan and scheme against him because the playbook is going to change every week. It's not going to be the same thing.
Shout out to Caitlin with the context tapping in all the way from Corpus Christi. Says, the way the players react to Coach Parker has me more excited than any other potential X's and O's. There's buy-in there that can't taught. Buy-in. Hey. What's buy-in, KELZ? You ever heard of that before? Buy-in?
Yeah.
Buy-in from the players to the coaches?
You're invested in what's being said and what's being done.
Because it didn't look like the Cowboys defense, especially Trayvon Diggs last season, was bought into Eberflus's system.
Nobody was.
Would that be?
Nobody was.
Yeah. Nobody was. So
even the ones he drafted.
Oh, yeah. Even the ones he brought from Chicago and we made a green dot. Remember? I mean, if that don't scream like, they were letting him drive the car into the ditch, I don't know what is. But I think one of the things that I like when I heard Shotty in the presser yesterday was he's got a bigger feel for the whole three phases of the game. Offense, because we know he's come from that offensive side of the tree. The defensive side now with Christian Parker, those two in their communication and their language is matching up. And then Clayton Adams on the offensive side of the ball. But what he did with Javonte Williams last year, even Clayton Adams was considered for what's this accelerator program where coordinators are forwarded up to be a head coach. Can you talk to that a little bit? What that was about?
So yeah, he was a part of the accelerator program, and it's just basically like a training for like the next level of coaching, like as a head coach. But honestly, if if this is Clayton Adams year 2 with the year 3.
Correct.
This will be year 3. If he keeps performing the way he is, this I mean, we just have to be real with the situation. This could be the last year of having a Clayton Adams, because he may move up to a head coach or an assistant head coach.
Yeah. And I really like how he handled that question there when it came to, and I wanted to clip that because we had talked about that the day previously. If you did not know, Nate Thomas and Tyler Guyton will be competing for the left tackle, or it's a left tackle. Yeah. Left tackle position. Right. And, he's a first round pick. He's going into year 3. And he didn't say one thing bad about the guy. He says he's made the moves he needed to do this offseason. I guess some things they addressed. And then plus that injury, the injury opponent gets a lot of people's careers, a lot of players' careers. And I think a lot of people are overlooking that when it came to him last year, because you talked about that a while ago. And you said he's coming back healthy, right?
Yeah. And then
so that's a good thing, especially with a healthy
Yeah.
Nate Thomas. There's going to be some high competition right there.
Yeah. And then there's also another player that I really forgot about. And it came to mind after the show ended. Our rookie, Drew Shelton.
I seen somebody talking about him today. Who was that? I seen somebody talking about him today. But I know I'm tracking. Go ahead. Drew Shelton.
Yeah. He is a primary left tackle. He's good. He was the one, he only had, throughout his college career, he only gave up 1 sack. And it was because the team that he played, they do the exact same thing that a Christian Parker do. They do a lot of disguises. Their pre-snap is different from the post-snap. So what happened was Arvell Reese was on one side, and when the ball was snapped, Arvell Reese came on the other side where Drew Shelton was, and that's how he sacked the quarterback.
So that's a name to pay attention to as we continue to slide down the news and notes on the official correspondence from the Dallas Cowboys today. Lock and key is the next highlight from today. It says things are moving quickly for the Cowboys defense, especially the secondary, as Christian Parker moves forward with installs. It's evident safety PJ Locke has a ton of familiarity. That's going to be catchy. Locke in the defense secondary. That'll go over some people's heads, but it'll make sense later this season. Has a ton of familiarity with Parker and the scheme, though. Their time together in Denver, showing up in the second minicamp practice where Locke was breaking up passes in multiple occasions. So PJ Locke and Christian Parker were together in Mile High.
Yeah. Same time when Christian Parker helped snatched up Patrick Surtain from up under us, but we ain't going.
Yeah, I mean, he did some good work in Denver. I think a lot of people not realizing. KELZ, can you share with, maybe the folks that haven't been paying attention to Christian Parker, what he may have done in Denver? Because he did a lot of great. I mean, there's still things that defense was averaging like 6 sacks a linebacker last season or something, wasn't it?
I could take it further than that. He's done a lot of stuff in the HBCU realm. He was one of the top pass game coordinators for the CIAA, because that's where he first started coaching with, and that was with Virginia State University out in Petersburg, Virginia. And at that time, Petersburg, Virginia was one of the top CIAA schools that had a good football program. So he did a lot of stuff there, and that was from 2014 to 2015. Virginia State is also known as Big State. 2015-2016 season, he went to Little State up the road to Norfolk State, and he was a part.
He's got like what, a 10-year resume of football?
Yes. So, and then under his passing game coordination for Norfolk State, also known as Little State, the Spartans was one of the top 10, no, I'm sorry, one of the top 5 defenses of the 2015-2016 season.
Yeah, I like that Tim Kalishaw question that he asked Christian Parker there, because he brought up a good point a couple of years ago with rookie Cooper DeJean and those guys in the backfield, the difference that defense made in them making a championship run. And now here it is. It looks like the deck may be set again for Christian Parker when it comes to the defense, especially getting the best defensive player in the draft with Caleb Downs.
So, but like I said, Christian Parker knows what he's done. Not only was he the defensive passing game coordinator for Virginia State and Norfolk State, he was also the defensive back coach, and the DB room for both of those schools were also one of the top 5 for the CIAA and the MEAC. Then after that, he went to Notre Dame and was the defensive analyst. And then 2018, he went to Texas A&M, and he was also the defensive analyst. And then after that, then he went into the NFL level. He was at Green Bay, where he was the defensive quality control coach, and he also helped draft my frat brother, who is now on the team, Rashawn Gary. He left from there. And went to Denver, Colorado. And if anybody remember, that's 2021 season. We traded our pick to Philly because Patrick Surtain was drafted at number 9 by the Denver Broncos, who did not need anybody on secondary. So yeah, he effed us up with no loop, and took him from took Surtain from us. So, and then he also got PJ Locke as well. He has drafted a lot of players. Then of course he left from Denver, and then he went to the Philadelphia Eagles, and we saw what he did with there.
Yeah. And that's back to the Tim Kalishaw answer, him quick on his feet. He says, hey, I recognize you. I watched you on Around the Horn. I mean, this guy is sharp. My guy Sterling's tapping in, says, KELZ, most don't know about that mentality of HBCU. It's like Friday Night Lights, but way bigger.
Yeah. And see, and the thing is, HBCUs used to run a big deal with the NFL. Don't know what happened. I do know what happened, but that's a conversation for a whole nother day. But Gil Brandt, he has season tickets for most of the
there's a lot of talent in HBCUs. The Cowboys have been known to go anywhere talent is located at.
Yeah.
And speaking of talent, we got a running back, KELZ. Phil Maffa was seen running with the ones today, along with Jaden Blue. So let's talk about that. Jaden Blue, Phil Maffa get first team reps. Pro Bowl running back Javonte Williams did not take part in team drills portion of practice today, which opened up the door for Phil Maffa, who was a rookie we drafted last year along with Jaden Blue, but he was mostly on the IR. In his absence, Dallas pair of second-year backs Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa took reps with the first team. Maffa had a very strong carry on the first play of 11-on-11, and Jaden Blue got involved with the passing game on a reception from Dak Prescott that led him up the sideline. Got to be excited about that, right? Phil Maffa now coming on. Jaden Blue coming back with a little bit of humble pie, seeming like he's a little bit more mature. We might get us some Sonic Knuckles and what is it?
Yeah.
What do you call them?
Sonic
and Knuckles. Yeah.
Yeah.
That like Detroit had, right? Because Maffa's a banger too, right?
Yeah, he is a big back. Like what Shotty said, he like big backs, and he's not gonna lie. He's a big boy. He's a bruiser. He'll bulldoze you with no problems. He won't ask no questions. He'll just do it. And after yesterday's show, and I jumped on the show with Jerome, and I said, I don't think the competition is going to be between Phil Maffa and Jaden Blue. I think, hey Kay, that's my girl. She she's starting this podcast journey right along with me. So she's coming through. Hey girl.
Hey Kay, appreciate you tapping in.
I think I don't think the competition is going to be between Phil Maffa and Jaden Blue. It's going to be heavily between Malik Davis and Jaden Blue.
That's right. Malik Davis is back.
And I don't think,
or did he never leave?
And he changed his number, so we can't, I forgot what his
Malik Davis, I think, what was it, last year or the year before?
42.
He had a good breakout. Was it?
Yeah.
Is it regular season or was it training? Oh, Thanksgiving game. That's right.
It was the Thanksgiving game because, he wore number 42 and he ran 42 yards up on Kansas City Chiefs defense and ran right into the end zone. And then the next day, which was Friday, he had a nice little envelope on his locker for a random drug test because the Chiefs Kingdom had suspicions that there was some type of performance enhancement that was given because of the speed rate that he was going when he was running 42 yards. Yeah,
that's right. I forgot. You brought up Malik Davis. We got Javonte Williams, who the Cowboys just re-signed to a 3-year deal. We got Jaden Blue coming back for year 2. We got Phil Maffa coming back healthy for year 2. And who was that? Malik Davis, you said? Is
Malik
back?
Davis.
Man, we have so much depth at so many positions, it seems like now. This is a good thing to have.
Yeah, and we also still got Hunter Lemke, who's going to be hybriding between a fullback and a tight end. And I know you said we're going to talk about tight ends a little bit later as well.
Yeah, that's a great segue. I want to bring that tight end back because if you did not know, we are 84 days away from the NFL kicking off. Might be 88. We've seen the Cowboys post 88 today. That's because the Cowboys kick off on Sunday. But on Wednesday, we got the Rams kicking off first. But today I wanted to celebrate a tight end that's been overlooked. A lot of folks say he should be in the Hall of Fame, but he's quietly down in Corpus Christi, in that area, Southern Texas. Shout out to Caitlin Adams. We already showed you the photo of her. We'll go back and show you that again. Shout out to Caitlin Adams, her husband, Arch, who had a chance to meet Jay Novacek and get some 84 proof. So if you've got some of Jay Novacek's 84 proof, let us know in the comments. Maybe we might be able to set up a 84 proof pipeline here or something, KELZ. And, because like you said, it's not available in your neck of the woods. So if you're a bourbon drinker, tap in and let us know. We are celebrating Jay Novacek. And if you got a favorite Jay Novacek memory, let us know.
Listen, if the price is right, I'll Zelle, Apple Pay somebody, and they could, how
get some shipping and handling
real good.
Yeah, pay a little shipping and handling.
Yeah.
But if you got questions, comments, or concerns, we're recapping day 2 here. The official correspondence has already been put in the comments.
I'm sorry, I sent you the wrong picture.
It's all good. I seen that you sent one, but send me the one with you and Jay Novacek.
Yeah.
But if you're on Facebook and you're watching here today, we know that folks are on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. But if you jump on Facebook, you can connect with Jay Novacek. And if you're out of state, maybe if you DM him, he might send you a bottle for some shipping and handling. I don't know. You never know. You never know what you get till you ask for it. But if you've seen the intro coming in, Michael Irvin said that him and Jay Novacek, KELZ, would always joke while on the field playing the opponents that, they couldn't stop one another. One had to be open at all times. That was the benefit.
Yeah.
And now with George Pickens and CD lining back up and Javonte Williams, it's kind of like pick your poison with this offense again, right? You stack the box to stop the run. Do you double CD, leave GP open? Do you double GP, leave CD? And then you forget about Jake Ferguson.
Yeah.
Which we're going to talk about this Dallas Cowboys tight end room right now.
Yeah, and you just brought up a good point as far as everybody being open. And shout out to North Turner. That was one big thing that he was very, very adamant and being stickler about everybody being open at all times, because you never know what's going to happen. And I think that's what Clayton Adams is definitely trying to do, to make sure everybody's open. But like I said, without, with this left tackle situation, who's going to be the blind side?
Yeah, that blind side is going to be important, because that's going to protect Dak Prescott. That's going to protect the house. Speaking of, I mean, we even got depth at quarterback, which I'll entertain this. I don't know. There's a supplemental draft that's coming up, and kids sort of your quarterback. Cowboy fans are dying to know if the Cowboys entertain a supplemental draft. Like, look, we got Dak Prescott, we got Sam Howell, and Joe Milton. And Sam Howell was a starter in this league. So I don't know, why would we be interested in a supplemental draft pick with this quarterback kid, KELZ?
I hope not, because right now we're getting ready to enter the season with no drama. I hope he gets whatever help he needs as far as with his addiction, but this is not what we need right now. Right now, we are all gas, no brakes. We cannot, we don't need any drama, going into this brand new season, especially with Christian Parker at the helm. No.
Well, I know it's hard for haters. It's hard for haters to find drama, and I even seen the Dallas Cowboys #1 hater today on one of them major platforms, and he was going so far as to say George Pickens didn't play on the tag, because if he goes out there and he gets hurt, he's not gonna get all the money he's supposed to get next year, because he only got $28 million. Stephen A. Smith was up there trying to create drama.
But the thing is, what people don't know, when you sign it, if any player signs a franchise tag, that money is already guaranteed. But if God forbid, if there is an injury, then that does put you like in contract jeopardy. So, I mean, the tag is, to me, like a damn if you do, damn if you don't. And and I'm not saying the Cowboys do it, but there are some teams that kind of abuse the franchise tag. To me, the franchise tag is, if you got a good player, like a good player, and you don't want no other team to get him, then you will put the exclusive contract franchise tag on a player until you work out a deal.
Well, he got the non-exclusive tag.
Yeah, and that's the only thing.
And they even gave them permission to go around with that non-exclusive tag to try to field offers to see if somebody wanted to make a trade or a play at George, but no dice.
Yeah, but no one didn't bite at it. But the thing is, I wish it wasn't the non-exclusive tag. But the thing is, they still held the rights, and it's just almost like, they gave Brandon Aubrey the second round tender, where he could go around and shop around for, a contract to see if it's better or if it's a match or something like that. But I wish it was the exclusive. But again, whether it's the exclusive or the non-exclusive, there's a lot of teams that really do abuse what it's supposed to be for.
Well, as we celebrate 84 days away from the NFL kicking off, we're talking tight ends and all things Dallas Cowboys. If you got questions, let us know. Here's the tight end play that I remember most about Jay Novacek, is straight up hurdling guys, because he was a hurdler. Let's check him out.
Yeah.
Bateman to Novacek. Defender foul on Novacek. A corner to Catholic, hurdles his way into the end zone.
Yeah, Moose up in there, playmaker up in there.
That's Jay Novacek. He's going to be singled up on Tracy Simeon right there.
Troy just flicked that thing out there like.
Just before you see Novacek make the catch, and look at that. Mark Collins going down for the low tackle to take the big tight end down, and he hurdles right over the top of.
And that is a blast from the past when it comes to the countdown, as we are 84 days away. I'm just so happy we're inside 3 months, because I know as soon as Friday hits, KELZ, this Friday stretch from there until when the Cowboys check in the training camp always seems to be the longest.
Whew, yeah.
What do you plan on doing during that time? You got anything going on? You going? I seen you out there with the DC Defenders and doing your thing. You got anything planned this summer?
I want to go to a couple of Nets games. I went to my first game for the season. Got rained on, but the game started 2 hours and 10 minutes late. So I didn't get home until almost midnight or something like that. I want to go to a couple of Mystics games. I am planning next week. The Wizards is having their draft party, so I'm planning on going to that. I just want to sit out at the pool on my days off, my weekends or whatnot. And
all right, KELZ, Sterling got a question for you here. He says, does most of this talk have to deal with GP taking plays off?
No, I don't think so.
Because I was listening to Stephen A. Smith today. Although he's a hater, he did kind of have a point. I mean, GP shows up. Yeah, he's not a hold in. Yeah, he's practicing. But a lot of folks don't know. I mean, he had over 100 targets last year. Now, rightfully so, I think CD missed 3 games. But George had more receptions and more yards than CD. Let me ask you this, KELZ. Do you think this high-powered offense with Dak Prescott is going to go back to where it's not broken with GP? Could we see GP have another season best of CD Lamb, who is our number 1 in terms of stats? Now, I know it's probably only like that because he got that run because CD was injured. But overall, if both of them stay healthy, let me just ask you this way. If both GP and CD are healthy, which one has the most yards and receptions this year?
I don't know. I think it's going to be 1,000 games for both of them.
1,000 yards for both?
I believe. I think we're going to have a 2,000 yard plus receiving core. If you're talking about not only GP3 Lamb, but we got Flo.
You got Turpin.
I don't think Marquise, I think he's just a camp body piece. I don't think he's going to make the 53-man roster.
Didn't we just sign somebody, some guy from the Defenders League that you was just watching, Amir Speed or something like that? Does that sound familiar? DB, safety?
Yeah, he's good. He's really good. He wasn't with the Defenders, but I forgot what UFL.
No, it wasn't with the Defenders. You're right, but I can't think of the team name. I just read that before we jumped on here today. So does that sound like a camp body for the Cowboys? Another camp body?
Yeah. Most of this is like depth pieces. Chris Glacier, he was with us at one point. And then he bounced around throughout the league. Then he ended up in the UFL. So now he's coming back to Dallas as a camp body. I do like Chris Glacier. He's a very good guard. I want to say he was with Houston, if I'm not mistaken. No, I lied. He was with Columbus Aviators. And then no, I don't think Mingo is gone, but put a pin to that real quick because I was about to say something about Mingo.
I just went to the Cowboys website. The depth chart is not updated. They got all the players on there, but I'm not about to sift through them.
Yeah,
because I wanted to take a look at some of the position groups.
The Cowboys did get wide receiver. I forgot his first name. Means M.
Yeah, we got MVS too as well. I forgot Marquez Valdez Stanley. Yeah, just MVS. If you ever hear MVS, just know that's Marquez Valdez Scantling.
Yeah, we got him. But Means, he's coming from the Houston Gamblers.
Gamblers, there we go.
Yeah, the Cowboys was very, very big on Means. So Mims. So he signed with the Cowboys a couple of days ago. So the wide receiver room looks very, very good. So the thing about Mingo. If you put Mingo is still going to be a real big key component as far as special teams. That's why
is he really that deep in the special teams? Because if he's not,
yeah.
I'm thinking he might not make the roster this year.
He did good. He did very good on special teams.
Well, if he's got a good special teams run, then yeah, Cowboys are more likely to keep him on the roster. I mean, this wide receiver room is deep.
Right. And normally it's kind of the deepest room. I don't think it's going to be as deep like it used to be, because normally we have like between 11 to 13 wide receivers.
Yeah, I remember we had like a dozen last year.
Yeah, going into training camp.
Mm-hmm.
But if you not only put Mingo back on special teams, but if you implement the rookie that we got, who was also a good still, Anthony Smith, he is a deep threat when it comes to special teams. If you put both of them on special teams together, oh gosh. And he's also a kickoff returner as well.
Here's my thoughts. And I was wrong with George Pickens last year. I thought when we signed George Pickens, with everything, him coming from Pittsburgh, he was destined to crash out. I thought it was going to be a bad boy decoy for us to use to target CD, but CD got hurt, and then the stock for GP risen. He went over 100 catches. He went over 1,000 yards. He had a better season than CD Lamb, but I don't think he has a better season than CD Lamb, because I just can't find. It's just too crazy for me, KELZ. We slipped away from David Mulugeta and this franchise tag and holding out with all of this stuff with GP, because why would the Cowboys blow him up this season to turn around and pay him a whole bunch of money? Because think if he had a season just like he had this year, he's going to get top dollar at the market next year.
Yeah,
why would we stat pad this guy to pay him? If I'm Jerry, that's kind of, I mean, it's sick twisted, but you got to think that way. Like, why would we, go pay the guy more money if we let him go, let somebody else? Because a lot of people are thinking that may be the reason why we don't have George Pickens after this.
Yeah, I mean, and this the thing. This is a, you playing with fire situation. If it was me, I would have given him the deal. I would have given, at least, instead of saying, oh, we're not going to give you one this year, like we're definitely going to try to work something out by the July 15th deadline.
No, they came out and straight said, they've been said, and I know you know that, but that was weird. We're not going to pay you.
We're not doing anything at all. So,
and then they signed, no resistance.
Yeah. So now it's based. So now you're really giving George Pickens, if he has a good year, you basically giving him leverage now, because if you were to have signed him at the market rate that he would have gone in, it would have not been a lot, because one, we're going to get a lot of money next year when it comes to the salary cap.
Right, there's been an increase according to the ratings or the streaming or whatever, that money that's coming in. So the salary cap's it's over 400 million now or something, right?
Well, we entered in with 307, I believe, million. So next year it's supposed to be around the it's supposed to be around 375 million for next
we know
season.
that the salary cap's going up, so they'll have more money. The market goes up every year. I know every time a player signs, before a Cowboy player gets signed, Cowboy fans, oh my God, they let JSN get a contract. That's driving the money up on George Pickens. Well, that's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah. Where did you get that they released Flo?
I think you may be talking about Malik Davis. I don't know about Flo. And Flo's been there.
Flo has never been released.
Yeah. But I don't think George Pickens has a better season than CD, and I'm standing on that, because
it's going to be better. I think they're going to have. They're both.
Why are we going to load this guy up and pay him? Just let us know in the comments below which has a better season. GP.
They're both. To me, they're both equally going to have a better season, especially if if both top receivers are healthy throughout majority of the season, they're equally going to have a good season. But as far as GP3, it would have been very cost effective to sign him to a 4-year deal, because his market rate will be between what he's getting paid now with this this franchise tag, between 28 to 30 million a year for 4 years. And then you can still build in a restructuring clause into his contract as well, just like it's one in Tyler Smith, there's one in CeeDee Lamb, there's one in Dak Prescott, and I forgot the other one who got a restructuring clause built in theirs.
All the major guys getting major money got restructuring clause.
Right. So to me, it would have been cost effective, because if he balls out this year,
this thing, if we go to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl, and they gotta pay George
GP3
Pickens,
is going to ask for the bag. It would have been better to lock
that might be the biggest check Jerry may ever have to write. And before we get to that, let's go to B-Mac. He says, y'all heard him say his agent was the boss. That's the only thing I don't like about the GP interview. I'm glad you brought that up, B-Mac, because I've seen some sites saying GP is blaming his agent why he wasn't at OTAs. Let me just explain something to you. This is the art of deflection in the media. So don't take it personal that he's saying, well, my agent said, of course he's going to, but that means he doesn't have to answer the hard question. Like if he wasn't there because he stubbed his toe, he's there because his agent didn't tell him. Not that you need to know anything else.
I don't think that was the case.
Which part?
Okay, so B-Mac, Ryan Floyd, he was waived in August 2025, but that was just the only temporary, because we had to make space for a player to get on the roster.
Roster manipulation.
Yeah.
Got you. Musical chairs, the roster. Dallas is masters at that.
Right. So, and when the waiver happens, when that 53-man roster is done, they go into like a waiver wire pool. At that time, the Cowboys was like number 2 on the waiver wire pool. So as soon as number 2 came up, they hurried up and got Ryan Flournoy. That was only a temporary thing, because we had to get Brandon Aubrey? We had to get somebody on the roster because we didn't have that PP.
Well, we got to clear it up. Shout out to B-Mac on his 1s and 2s. Shout out to KELZ for clearing it up. Yeah, he was released. We did bring him back. But closing notes. Let us know, GP or CD, who has a better season, in the comments below. I know we're ending it on the offense. We kicked it off with some defense here today. We heard from both coordinators. This has been day 2 recap. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, right, KELZ?
Yep, 7:30.
Back tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. on the West Coast, 7:30 on the East Coast, to recap day 3 of mandatory minicamp. And this is going to be the last that we really see anything. And I hope it's anything, because we don't want to see anything past Friday, because if I know KELZ, if we see anything with the Cowboys past Friday, it's probably not good news, unless it's George Pickens getting a long-term deal. And I know, and we both know that's not happening. So we appreciate everybody joining on Built Different Group, also on LinkedIn and on YouTube. We're going to recap again day 3 again tomorrow. So if you're tapping in late,
I'm gonna have a little bit more information about that whole agent thing.
I don't think he's blaming the agent. I just think that is, if you pay attention to these interviews like I do, there's called the art of deflection. And it's kind of like what politics use. And they say, oh, you sound political because you're not answering the whole question.
Yeah, and OTAs is voluntary. It's voluntary. And what was it, in April when they went back?
It was in May.
In May, the first weekend in May. It's voluntary. You don't have to be there unless you want to.
Well, that's right. And if you heard what he said that it actually gave other players. And if you heard what Shotty said, vets are there to be there, but really it's about the rookies and the new guys coming in to get them acclimated into pro football, as we heard and some of the interviews teaching guys how to be pros.
Right, and the free agents that the team bring in. So I'm not tripping off. This is the one that's important, the mandatory. This is what's important.
Yeah. Because if he wouldn't have been here today, if he wouldn't have reported, it'd have been like $100 and some thousand a day. But and then on a great note for our next segue, going to next show, GP, if he real, we can tag him because we could tag him twice, right? You can tag somebody twice, right, KELZ?
Twice. Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if the Cowboys won the Super Bowl and tried to tag George Pickens next season?
Oh, he ain't sounding the tag.
Ooh, well, make sure y'all join us and spin the block. We're gonna talk about this back here tomorrow. That's my girl KELZ. I'm your boy B Jizzle. This is Built Different Group. Day 2 recap. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about it. GP getting tagged twice.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.